Hey there everyone, Atesh here, back with another Saturday marathon, not Saturday. So sorry, I'm kind of used to saying that Saturday live. But hey there everyone, one more time. Hey there everyone, back again with another JavaScript marathon. I hope you're all excited and all ready for this marathon. First, let me put up a timer up here because during this timer only we'll be answering your questions which are around here. After that, I'll go into teaching the class stuff. During that time, I don't take any question. I just teach the subject. I just go with that so that when somebody watches it later on, he knows when to watch the content, when to watch the discussion and whole lot of that. I hope you understand that and respect that part as well. So we'll be getting started in that. And yes, I catched up with the NAS Daily, Nusair from NAS Daily, and a really great experience there. We'll be talking about that after the session. In this session, we are going to talk just about the strings and how to evaluate and take care of the things about the text. Again, this is a marathon, so it's not about finishing up the things in a fast pace. This is marathon, so we'll be just going very in depth about what all the things are there to cover about text. Similarly, we'll be going in some data structures and eventually a lot of things. This class is all about strings as well as some of my secrets about regex or regular expressions. So we'll be catching up with that. So yep, write code, of course, that's why we are here. So we'll be doing that. Okay, so is the course content is available before 10 July in JavaScript course? Yes, of course. If in case you want to go for the paid JavaScript course, the content is immediately available to all the people, and we are building up something more awesome so that you can get help almost 24/7 whenever you like. So we are building up something awesome for that. Okay, done with the quiz and assignment. Awesome. That's great. That's great. And again, make sure you remember this is a JavaScript marathon, not a sprint, not a course that we want to just finish this up. We want to take it really in depth and we want to go every detail of it so that you master JavaScript. Okay, so Piyush says, hi, I'm shortlisted for Campus Tech Leader interview round. Oh, awesome. But I see the email in which interview schedule time is over. Will my interview reschedule? I'll surely ask them to reschedule it. No worries at all. I'll ping our manager who is managing that all the campus. They will reschedule. No problem in that. Okay. Big fan. More than Amitabh Bachchan. No, please don't. He is a great actor. Even I'm a big fan of him. No, he's way above me. I'm nobody in front of him. Okay, do I need to be in college to get internship as a front-end developer? No, not at all. You need to be in college for the campus lead program, not for that. So just 2.5 more minutes, then I'll go into the depth of the strings and regex. So after that, I will not be taking any question. Once the session is over, then I'll be taking your question. Again, I hope you remember that. And timer will help you to figure out when to watch what. So, and again, if somebody can put up this timestamp into the comment section, that would be really fantastic. Okay, how you go deep in a language? By building more stuff, read it more books, read more documentation, build more projects. So you are very lucky. Yes, of course. With just 10 years of hard work, anybody can be lucky. That's simply up. Fully pumped up. You should be all pumped up. We are gonna get started with JavaScript now. I hope you are enjoying this marathon, and then we'll be getting with that. Okay, let's move on. Can freshers join your job guarantee program? Of course, no problem at all. Which camera do you use? What lens? I've already put up a video on my YouTube channel about the recent unboxing of the camera. So yeah, and yes, of course, guys, please go ahead and share the stream. That would be really, really awesome. When is the next hackathon? On next Saturday. Next Saturday and Sunday, we are having less of a hackathon, more of a job hiring on the floor, which is by Mu Sigma. And then we have, after that, we have from our amazing guys at Geeky Ants. We'll be building so much of web and mobile stuff using that. So that would be fantastic one, both of them. So, okay, so let's go ahead and go with that. So I hope you have shared that, you have liked it enough as well. Okay, so much effort. Kudos to you and your iNeuron team. Thank you so much. We are building more, we are doing more. So just 40 more seconds and then we'll be moving into the content part. Hope you are going to enjoy that part. Okay, please tell me how you are this much calm. That's the kind of a thing I do. Stay calm, keep on smiling, deliver the topic in most easiest way possible. Is the program still on 10% discount? Yes, of course, you can use Hitesh 10 on any of the course and get a discount of 10%. So that is still on. Hitesh 10 is the coupon code, 10% off, at least as of now. Not sure about future. Okay, so this is all done. Let's stop the counter and let's get started with that. So I hope you're all excited. Share the stream and now let's get started with the topic itself. Hey there everyone, welcome to another episode of JavaScript Marathon where we are trying to go absolute in-depth of JavaScript, and today we're going to get started with strings and regex. I'll share you my secret of how to use regex and how to prepare the regular expression. They are not easy to handle down, so that is why I take help from some of the websites which are absolutely fantastic. Now, apart from that, we really want to go in depth of the string because that's where the performance is hidden. Not all the strings are same because in JavaScript, it's not about you can have a single quote character or you can have a double quote character and they are treated differently. No, that is not how JavaScript works. By knowing more in depth about the string, you can make your entire application really performant optimized or maybe lagging in the performance. So that is what this is all about. After watching this video, you will have full understand of how string works and how you should be using them. What are the most common method that you should know about the string, and then of course a little bit reading of the documentation will be given to you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me move on to my screen itself. So this is our code editor. Let me go ahead and bring this up. So we'll be going into, let me open up JS Camp and 01 Basics. So I'll drag and drop down this folder, JS Basics. And we were talking about numbers. Now we'll be talking about text. So let me go ahead and say 03. My bad, I'm putting up spaces in all of them. Just want to remain consistent, although I don't like spaces in the file names. Really bad. Or I think I should actually change this one. So 03 underscore text would be better. Of course, .js. We would love to rename these as well. Let's go ahead and rename that so that we have some consistency. I really don't like inconsistent codes. And numbers should be lowercase. That would be better. Let's go ahead and rename this one as well. Just a small refactoring. I hope you don't mind that. And let's go ahead and use that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move on and talk about the text. First and foremost, you need to understand very clearly about the text part that no matter what happens in JavaScript, you cannot differentiate this string and a string that is written this way. So single quotes and double quotes. And again, for those who are not able to see this, please go ahead and put your phone in landscape mode. This stream is going into 4K itself, so you can go ahead and watch that pretty easily. I cannot zoom it further down, otherwise I won't be able to see anything on the screen itself. Again, reminding you, the strings which are being put up in the single quotes and the strings that are put up in double quotes, they are no different at all. Also, strings, you cannot change them. Once you have written, that is it. You cannot modify these strings. All the methods and everything that you apply, they produce a new string. Now let's come up onto the something which a lot of people make mistakes. So again, let me walk you through with some of the interesting stuff. So let's create a variable. I'm going to go ahead and say $. And I would love to put up a Unicode character. Now these days, why I'm focusing so much on these Unicode character, because these days you make a lot of applications which uses these Unicode character. You are building a WhatsApp clone, the smileys are going to be there. You are putting up a blog post, the smileys are going to be there, and they are Unicode characters. And this is very important for all of us. Let's go ahead and put up a Unicode character. So I'm going to go ahead and choose up a $. Character. So this is the $. Character that I have, and I'll put up a $sign up here. Now let's go ahead and say let's put up a love, because that character is being used quite a lot into the Unicode character. So again, let's go ahead and use the love character here. Now here's the most important and interesting question. Try to answer that in the comment section in case you're watching this closely. Let's go ahead and log this out. So let's go ahead and say what is the $.length, and let's also do a console log, log, and try to have a love.length. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes. So what would be the output of line number 4 and what would be the output of line number 5? If you can guess that, that would be really, really awesome. Let me know in the comment section what would be the output of that. Now both of them, of course, both of them are just a single letter character, but you need to understand this is what we are building these days. Simply a simple string which is also treated as array, but we'll talk about the array in some other program itself. let's go ahead and let me see what is the output. Okay, I won't wait you too much of the long, but you need to understand that even these UTI characters are treated differently based on what character you are using. So let me show you node, and this is going to be 03. This might be surprising to a lot of people that the first character is 1 and the second character is 2. So this actually makes and break all of your application, especially the optimization of this. So remember, Unicode character, you need to understand a lot of people will be using your application with these smileys and those characters. So they are different in length, although they look exactly same. There is no difference at all. So, okay, I hope you have got this one clear and all of that. Now, let me just comment this up because we have done enough of the basics of this. Let's move forward. Now, one more thing you need to understand here that there are a couple of ways how you can actually define strings. The first one is single quotes, so you can go ahead and use that. You can also go ahead and use double quotes, so that is also there. And there is one more, guys, which is backtick just below your escape key. Now, in most of the cases in the modern language that you are seeing is the usage of the double quotes or usage of these backticks. Backticks allows you to do a lot more thing. We'll come back onto that in a second, but these are the two ways how you define that. Now, moving on, one more thing. I am pretty sure that you are also aware about the escape sequence. Now, escape sequence, just like same, you might have studied them in other languages as well. And moving on to that, so let me show you some of them. So the /n is there for a new line. There's one of my favorite one, which is /u to get you a Unicode characters. Again, Unicode characters can be 16-bit or can be 8-bit. If it is 8-bit, obviously less memory. If it is 16-bit, then obviously more memory. And you need to find out which of these characters, because there is no standardization in these characters. Some are 16-bit, some are 8-bit, so you need to figure out. And that is the reason why some of them just printed out 1, some of them 1. Again, I have no idea. I usually go with the chart that which one will be carrying with that. Okay, moving on, there is also a / and you can escape the sequence by having a single quote, double quote. Pretty basic how the programming works, really very basic. Now, moving further down, let's talk about some of the methods that are fun to use. So let's just say if I have my string. So in the my string, we'll be going for, of course, the classic hello Hitesh, not hello world, of course. Okay, so what all you can do up here. Now, first thing that you can do here is by applying a lot of methods into that. Now, I'll show you some of them in the console log, but not all of them, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good assignment for you so that you can try these methods that what they output up here. So let's go ahead and log this out. So what I want to do is I want to use some methods on this my string. The first method that will be going is for substring. Now this substring returns a substring specified from a special location or whatever the mentioned location is. I want to get started with location number 1 and I'll go till the location number 4. So that is the most important part. All the strings that you declare in JavaScript starts from 0. So this H is at position 0 and you have asked it to start at position 1. So this E goes at position 1. Then obviously we have position 2, 3 and 4. And yes, this is what we'll be getting. But there is a little bit surprise here as well. Let me show you that by printing it out. So if I print this out, this says E, L and L. So notice here we started from position 1. So 0 obviously was ignored. So this was position 1, which was inclusive, 2, 3, that's it. The 4 was not inclusive. So remember that in most of the languages and also in Python and most of these languages, the first letter that you define in the range is inclusive, but the last letter that you define is not inclusive. This is a kind of a standard practice in most languages. So again, try to remember this. Some languages don't do this, but most of the languages follow the same sequence. The last number in the range is non-inclusive. This will help you to understand more languages in depth. This is kind of a standard practice with the language design. Okay, moving on. So you can also do something like this, my string, and a lot of people don't use substring these days. I have noticed that in most of the code bases that you're going to find, they actually prefer to use slice. Now again, what's the difference between slice and substring? Honestly, nothing at all. This will also give you exactly same result. The implementation wise, the code wise, it's gonna be just exactly same. So yes, you'll be using mostly slice. Now, one of the interesting thing about this slice is that you can actually give some of the negative characters to this one. You cannot give them to substring. Like, I haven't tried it. Honestly, I have always used slice for that. Now let's go ahead and try to print this out, that what this one prints, because that's an interesting implementation of this one. So we'll be going with that. So console.log, let's go with that. And did I print up? Yep, that should be good. Okay, let's go ahead and see that what the -6 of the slice gives, because a lot of people get interested in that. So yep, you get the character from the very end. So from the very end, the 6 characters are gonna be coming in. So yeah, pretty simple, pretty kind of a basics as well, to be honest. Okay, so these are the basic ones. I hope you will enjoy that. Let's move on and see what more we can actually go ahead and do with these strings. Pretty basics. I have a collection of these notes in a collection of these methods in my notes. I hope you will be enjoying that. So these are the basic one. Let's move forward and go into some of the more ones here, which I actually use them a lot. So let's go ahead and find out. One method that you'll be using insanely a lot is index of. Now index of can be utilized via multiple of the ways. For example, if you're going to go ahead and say, get me an index of I, so wherever it sees first term I, it will get you a return of that index. So this is where it will be going. Of course, the index is going to be based on 0. No need to console that log out, because I'm pretty sure if you're paying enough of attention, you'll be understanding that part. Okay, moving on. There are a couple of interesting things that you can do with that. Let me show you that. So what I can do is, I want to find out that where is E in my entire string. Now obviously you'll be saying it's at position number 1, and that is true. But I want to find out that is there any E after the certain characters in the string. So what you can do here is you can place any number. So I'm just placing a number 3 here. So is there any E in my string after 3? So 1, 0, then we have 1, then we have 2, and then 3. So after this HEL, is there any E present? So this will start evaluating from here, and wherever it finds E, it will give you the location of that. That is very, very interesting inspect of that. Another aspect that you can find pretty easily is one more method is there. Let me walk you through with that. So there is one interesting method which is last index of. Yes, people talk a lot about index of and rarely talk about last index of. So as you can see in this string, there are a lot of H that are available. Let me just, if I just go ahead and lower that up. So there are a lot of H here. Let's just go ahead and lowercase all of this. That will make a lot of sense. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So you want to find out what is the last value or what is the last H available at. So there you can use last index of, and you can just go ahead and say H. Now you can also go ahead and click on this. It will give you that what it is: search, string, position number. You can go ahead and find out, determines whether two strings are equivalent. There's a lot of stuff. So you can find out, click on that and find out a definition of that. Returns the last occurrence of a substring in the string. Obviously H is a substring. Okay. These are methods, and these are pretty much fun of the methods available. Now, we'll be going through with some of the methods which are going to make a lot of handiwork. I've seen a lot of people installing some NPM packages in React and Node because they don't know foundation of JavaScript. You don't need to install certain of these packages to just do these basic stuff. Let me walk you through with that. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe as well. Let me walk you through with that. So, let's just say you want to find out in certain string. I'm giving you an example with the my string because that's where I can run. But maybe you want to find out that whether user is putting an input in their mobile field, which should always starts with 91. So you can go ahead and say starts with, and can just write a string as +91. Maybe you want to take only Indian mobile phone numbers, or maybe a collection of that. So you need to check out, this will give you a Boolean value that whether your string starts from +91 or not. So no need to install a certain package for that, and you can check that. And similar to this, you can also verify whether an email from a certain university or certain company is there. No need to install certain packages or to go really in depth of regex for that. You can just go ahead and simply ask for ends with, and that's it. And I want to check whether this email starts with ineuron.ai, and that's it. It will give me a Boolean value whether the email entered from the user was from the ineuron organization or maybe any XYZ organization that you are working with. And certainly there is also a case which you might have seen a lot, includes, where you can compare that during that entire string whether any substring matches for tests. Now this is a little bit tricky to use because obviously the checking can be a little bit rigorous here. Entire thing should be matched up in this order, and that's where sometimes these regex cases comes into that. Surely I'll come back onto the regex part, that how I actually hack into my regex part and all of that, because handling the regex is not that much easy. So sometimes I even hack into the stuff by using some of the tricks. I'll show you that. So right now let's go back into the part where we'll be going into the code stuff. Okay, moving on. Let me show you one of the couple of methods that you might already be using. So there is a method, very famous, to lowercase, and you can just turn any string into entirety of a lowercase. Again, this is local lowercase. That is not what I'm looking for. That I'm looking for is to lowercase. Now, one thing very important here is that when you run this method, that actually gives you a new string itself. Notice here it gives you a string. So that is not your original string. You are being returned back a new string. So you are allocating a bit of a new memory kind of a thing. So make sure you are aware of that. It doesn't consume too much, but yeah, it is there. Maybe you want to optimize that. Now, where do I use this to lowercase? Whenever I'm storing certain things into database, for example, I want to store your email address into the database, then obviously I always go with the lowercase because casing can be sometimes sensitive. If you are putting up a search field into that, not really good. I always prefer to store all the email by converting them into lowercase. That is what I do usually. Now, similar to that, we obviously have another things. So my string that there is a to uppercase method is there to get that. There is also a method that says you can go ahead and normalize, and here is a small assignment. This reminds me of that. You can normalize any character, so one character up, all lowercase, but there is also something written here which is NFC, and then there is a NFKC and NFKD. So can somebody in the comments do a little bit of research and explain this, that what is this? This is going to be our small assignment, that please let me know what is this NFKD and how this normalization works. That is your assignment. You need to study as well. And again, I told you this is not going to be all of a spoon feeding section. You need to go through with some documentation, read some stuff and do some assignment. And that's how we will be doing that. Okay, so moving back, again, this entire stream is more about having what are the good practices and how some of the good practices that you can do. Again, I don't know all the good practices. Again, you need to understand that just because I've been writing code for some years doesn't mean I know all the good practices. I still do learn from all the fresh developers who come into the company. I sit with them, I ask questions with them, I share information with them, and that's how I learned some of the good practices with them as well. So make sure you also do that and let me know in the comments, have you done your assignment? Okay, moving on, another methods. So let me walk you through with one of the scenario-based situation that we actually recently faced. So whenever we transfer salaries into the account, we prefer that only one bank account should be there, because there are bank account numbers. Sometimes they start and have different character sets. Some of them are having bank account numbers in 12 characters. Some of them have in 10 characters. So this sometimes messes up our Excel sheet that we need to give to our banker so that salaries can be processed. And some of these things you might be facing while building a financial application. In that case, you don't need to do too much of regex or install any package. You can actually do a certain things where this exact situation can actually go with that. So let me go ahead and work on with that. Okay, so let me walk you through with that scenario. So let's just say we have a string where we have all these accounts. So let's just say bank account is saying HDFC, and then we have 334433. So this is Now I want that all of these values should be in 12 characters. So somebody might be having a bank account from, let's just say, Silicon Valley Bank of America, or maybe having a bank account from ICICI Bank or State Bank or something. So notice here, we have how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. But I want that it should be generalized. All the strings that are coming up in the account number should be 12 character long. I am ready to put some zeros at the very start of the character if the zeros are not there, or if the string is not 12 character long. So what you can do is you can just put up a new value here, pad end and pad start. This time I'm looking for a pad start, and I can go ahead and say that, hey, it should be 12 character long, and in case if it is not 12 character long, just go ahead and put up a 0 at the start of it. This is how we solve this one. Let me show you the output of this one, because this seems to be less discussed on the internet. Let's go up and have a console.log. Okay, looks great. Now let me walk you through with that. And now you can notice that 2 zeros were put up at the start of it, because I said pad start. So it will not only 0, you can put up any number, by the way, and this will work absolutely fine up that. And again, if I have less characters, it will start the trailing. And similarly, like pad start, there is a pad end, but again, pad end is not useful in our case. Maybe you are building something in which you can have that. Now, I hope this was pretty interesting for you. Okay, moving on. So in one of the starting early video, I show you that you can actually repeat the string. We didn't discuss it much, but we'll be discussing. So sometimes what happens is I'm building up an application which prints out some things on the console. I want to make it look good, beautiful, some messages on that. So in that case, putting up a console.log with 10 different star, then a message, and then 10 different star to make it look good and nice, it doesn't make sense to write that much of star. So in that case, what you can do is you can go up and say that we want to put up a star, and oops, where am I writing? Okay, this is, sorry, moved my cursor. So what you can do is you can go up there as the basics of star, because that's what we want to print. And after that, you can just use a repeat. Now repeat, it's really simple. It returns a string value. Of course, almost all the methods returns you a new string values, and made count copies of that. So again, really simple. You can just go ahead and use repeat. How many times you want to repeat? Maybe 15 times. That's what I want to repeat. Then I want to do a console log, say, hey, enter your rating. And then I want to have again repeat star. It will look nice. So that's how it works. Okay. Remember always, this all is going to return you a new string. That is the most important aspect. That is going to put up your application in the performance mode or less performance mode. Now moving on, let's also discuss a bit about the backticks. That's what we want to go for. So let's just say again, our classic variable score, we are going to go ahead and have 100 of that. And we will be saying, let's just say we want to write a greeting. So how the greeting is going to go in? So first of all, let's use backticks this time, and I'll just hit enter. Now, the moment you hit enter, you have actually introduced a new character here, which is a /n, a new line. And in the backticks, you can just put up a slash, so that whatever you write, this new line of character is not going to come in, and you can start writing in here. You just wanted to have a new line break. So that is why the slash is important. I repeat, this slash, if you not give that slash, that means you want to add an additional new line into this greeting. If you put up a slash up here, that means, hey, ignore that. I just typed it up here. I'll start writing things from the new line. So let's just say I want to have a simple $sign and this one. This is known as technical jargons. And again, we kind of programmers love to put a lot of technical jargons. It's known as string interpolation. Yeah, very fancy name, very fancy name. But string interpolation is nothing. It's just injecting a variable into a string. Yeah, that's simple. If into an entire string you want to put any variable, that is string interpolation. Told you, we programmers kind of love to have jargons, and that is what we hear. So let's just say you want to inject a variable $. Again, if you don't remember that, $, is what we decide up here. Okay. So we are putting up a $, and we'll be saying is at, and let's just hit another value. So $, is at a value of, and then I would love to inject another variable. We'll be saying score. The point of putting up a $, and a score is here, that no matter what your variable is storing, it's storing a number here, and at the top it is storing a Unicode character with values of Unicode 8, and this is Unicode 16. So no matter what it is, you can inject any of them without worrying about what their data type is. Not even that, these backticks actually give you a lot more than that. So for example, you can directly put up some of the Unicode character by saying /u. Let's just say we will be putting up a 2718 as a character up here. You can go ahead and put up all of this. So backticks are really, really powerful. I love them. And let's just print out greetings to show you what it is printing out. Clean this up, run this, and you can see it says, I hope you can see that a little bit lower. It can see that this is saying that dollar is at a value of 100 and then this Unicode character. These are really the fun thing to do and print up that. Okay, one more thing, last thing that we are going to discuss before we move into regex, that there is one more interesting thing about the strings. So strings, as you have seen, that we can go ahead and put up these characters. So for example, if I go ahead and say that I want to give you a string which is going to be, let me console log that, because I'll just store that into a variable. That would be even better. So we'll be saying let my new string, really running out of the variable name. So my new string is, and we'll be putting up a backtext, and inside the backtext we'll be saying that let's go for a /u, and again same character that we can go up for, which was 2718. Yes, I don't remember all of them. 2718. I have just prepared notes for some of them. And I will be saying that just go ahead and store the length of it. So yes, we have passed on a Unicode character and we are storing a length of it. So what should be the output of this one? That's an interesting one. And we'll be saying just print out my new string. Come on. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me comment this out. Too much. If I go ahead and print this out, obviously this gives me 1 because this is a very simple Unicode character, no extra shenanigans up here. But what also you can do that sometimes this code might confuse you a little bit. Some people might go ahead and say string.row. And I'll show you where the examples are, where in the real world actually you will be using this. So now what would be the output of this kind of a code statement? That is a little bit challenging. I do understand that part. Okay, so let me go ahead and clean this up and run this one. So this time we are getting a 6 of the value. So that's because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let me give you an example of where actually you are going to see these kinds of scenario. So whenever we are writing any kind of a blog or something and people are putting up a lot of code blocks into that, so obviously you don't want to execute those code blocks because people might be putting up some alert strings there, or maybe something to retrieve something from the web application, from user cookies or something. In that case, when you are writing or building an application blog where people can post their code, you want to take the input from the user in absolute raw format. No matter what they use, escape character, /u or something, all of them should be converted into a .raw so that they don't execute. They just get into the raw format itself. So that's how it will be going up into that. There are a couple of other ways of handling this situation. Yes, of course, you can convert them into UTF and base64. There are a bunch of other solutions available. I'm not saying which one is good, which one is not good, and all of that. Okay, so moving on. Now, so this is all what I wanted to discuss with you, all the details of the code. Now comes up is the part that, hey Tesh, sometimes we need to use regex. Do you know regex? I used to know it really, really well because in one of the early startup, kind of one of my first job that I did was writing a lot of regex. At that point of time, I was loving it and I was going very in depth of it. Do I remember it still now? Tiny bit, but not much. These days, I follow a website, really a remarkable resource. You will love it actually. Let me bring that resource up here. So where is that? Come on. Yep, here it is. So this is the website that I use. This is known as regexr. So this is the website that I use. And again, I cannot zoom it much here. I would love to. Let me go ahead and regexr. Come on, hit enter. So this is the website name. And this is regexr. Come on, can I zoom it? Nope. Cannot zoom it much. Yeah, there we go. So this is the website name, regexr, and it's just a .com. And one of the things that I absolutely love about this regexr website is the amount of details that it can give you. So I don't remember all of them, but they allow you to have different kind of modes in that. So you can use flags in that. So maybe you want to go for a global regex. Maybe you want to go for a case insensitive, case sensitive, and all of them. So it gives you all those modes. So notice here, it was a G. Now it goes on with I mode as well. It goes away with that. So all the flags are available. You can also go for a language specific. I usually go for JavaScript, but there are again all the JavaScript like browser based specific engines, or you want to go for PCRE, which is server specific languages and engines. Too much of details are up here. So fantastic project up there. So that is one thing. And I can also write these things on the go and test them out. Also, my favorite thing is cheat sheet. Cheat sheet is available here. So maybe I want to look for all the escape sequence, or I'm looking for groups. So how to capture a group. I know that by putting up a parenthesis, ABC, I can capture a group. So maybe I don't want to go with all of this. So I'll just remove that. Maybe I want to capture all the groups. So I'll just go up like this, and I'll say that all the group that says bar should be up here. And again, there is a lot of plus G is on all of that. So there's a lot more up here. And what I use it mostly for, let me walk you through that as well. This is not the cheat sheet. I go for community patterns. So this is the most fun thing, and you can find pretty much everything that you can imagine for up here. So for example, I want to go for password validation. I can go ahead and use this password validation. I can load this regex from this user. So go ahead and please load this. So maybe you want to look for a password that matches for the pattern of like uppercase, lowercase, special character, and all of that. These days, they have also introduced these test cases. So maybe you want to add more of these test cases that all these passwords do get matched or not. You can go ahead and do that. There's a lot. I recently saw that you can even match for a blockchain addresses if you have. Let me show you that. So blockchain addresses, I'm pretty sure I saw that. Maybe Bitcoin might give some of that result. I saw that. Yeah, Bitcoin address should be a blockchain address. But yeah, anyways. So you can go ahead and load this one, and now you can see that it matches up for all of these addresses up there. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, makes sense now. So notice here all the blockchain addresses. I cannot remember all of this, that how to write this much of a complex of regex, but maybe I'm building an application. There is so much of the things that community is doing, and you can take advantage of that. So big shout out to all the people who are putting up so much of effort into the community patterns. And you'll see so much of JavaScript comment removal. There is a script for that. There is a regex for that. You can just go ahead and find that. Maybe your application is so much of the comment prompt. Maybe you want to select all of them, export them, maybe build a documentation around them. There's too much information all available up here. There's a 24-time match links in HTML. You can load this. It just does so much of this. And again, it's such a big of a work. So whenever there's a thing, I always go for it. There are a couple of other websites I refer, but after finding this one, I'm rarely referencing all of them. So this is all what we studied about the strings, going really in depth. I highly recommend you also to go more into the documentation, find more method. This is a marathon. We are going to become a champion into JavaScript itself. You cannot do that by running a race itself. You can do that by going in depth of subject by subject. So that is all for this particular class. Now I'll be starting a timer so that you can go ahead and ask your questions. So this is all. Now you can go ahead and fire up all of your questions regarding the courses, regarding how I met Nas daily, and pretty much anything that you want to go for. So you can go ahead and ask that. I'll be answering your questions now. Okay, so start firing them up in case you have any. Again, in case you are interested more, there will be this all classes and all the files that I do, code files. They are available on the dashboard known as JavaScript Marathon. It's available on iNeuron website. You can check there and go for there. Okay, that's a nice interesting question. What is regex? Regex is a short form for regular expression. Whenever you want to match any pattern into a long form of text or code or anything, then we use regular expression. It's a way of writing very short and cryptic code to find out or match some patterns. That's what regex is, short form for regex, and the longer one is regular expression. Gautam says, I still use Google for regex. After finding regexr.com, probably you won't be needing that much of Google because most of the community is up here and they are putting up. And Umang says he enjoyed a lot. Thank you so much. I'm making sure that these all sessions are very interesting and we can compile them up and makes a separate course itself. That will be also available on YouTube. Okay, so Weber says, how was the experience after meeting Nas? His name is Nussair, and really great experience. In fact, we did a couple of collaborations there as well. Hopefully, you'll be seeing them very soon. Yes, I'll be in the 1 minute video as well. That's kind of a good, big achievement. Feels really good that I have made it so far to be into Nussair's 1 minute video. I would say pat on the back. That's really something awesome. Okay, so will you be taking the sets? Of course, we have just got started. Have you any course microservices Spring Boot? Not yet. With the Java microservices Spring Boot, that's usually the domain of Naveen sir. He also is there at iNeuron, so you can go ahead and check that. How much will you cover in this marathon? Absolute crazy. I'm planning to go all in depth, even data structures, projects, everything. Surely this is going to take some months, few good months, but that's what it takes to become. You cannot do that in just few weeks. You need to have patience. That's 101 of programming. Thank you, Weber. Thank you so much. Okay, so I am Arpan says, I am first year of BTech CSE. I know MERN Stack, TypeScript, Tailwind CSS. Can I get a remote internship in iNeuron Intelligence? It will be beneficial. Yes, of course, it will be beneficial. As of now, a remote internship is not there. For internship, you need to be in the campus, in the floor itself, because we cannot deliver that much of value when you are intern. You don't get to interact with other fellow developers, especially for interns. It's very important. You need to be on the floor. You need to see how Office works and all of that. Can you take one session on time and space complexity of array and string functions? That's an interesting topic. I'll definitely think about that. Okay. Why every string method returns a new string? That's a language design. That's how the language is designed, that strings are mutable, like immutable. My bad, sorry. Strings are immutable. They cannot be changed. That's the language design. Okay, if JavaScript is single-threaded, how does it asynchronous? That's a question that we'll be taking when we'll be having a dedicated class on interview sessions. Once we understand the basics of JavaScript, then we'll have a live stream for preparing for JavaScript interviews. We'll be doing that. Okay, so a lot of questions are coming up. Can a person who doesn't have experience in teaching or leadership can apply for campus leader program? You need to be someone to at least be in campus leader, because the whole idea behind campus leader is that you should be able to deliver something to the community. But if you are, I don't think you need to have some experience, but you should be willing to do all these things. You need to put up seminars. You need to teach somebody some topic, teach HTML, teach Git, or teach Tailwind CSS, and that's all we are looking up for. Please do take DSA. Of course, DSA in JavaScript is going to come up soon. Okay, so can you share any example that strings are immutable? They return. You have seen that now. Let me show you that. That's pretty easy to show you that. That's pretty easy. Instead of seeing all of this, you can just go ahead and see that. Let's just say 2 lowercase. If I click on that, notice here after the colon, it says string. That's a return type. So if it is returning something, that means it's not doing any operation on the existing string, it's returning it. Now, just putting anything in the console log is not a good way of finding out things that, oh, is it returning a new thing? Hey, here's a proof. Learn to read how the documentation works. That is the most interesting and important skill, is going to just get you up there. So make sure you are aware of that. How to read the documentation, the return type is there. Okay, so Umang says 1 hour per day with Hitesh sir keeps JS fear away. Absolutely. Okay, when is the next JavaScript hackathon? This Saturday it's Mu Sigma, and after that Saturday it's all about JavaScript. Native base, we'll be going with that. Will you be covering React.js along with JavaScript? Nope, I wouldn't be covering React.js with JavaScript because that requires a separate marathon itself, a React marathon. First, I'm looking forward to finish up JavaScript, DSA with JavaScript, some projects, and then move into TypeScript. That is the plan as of now. performance different using regex instead of simple string methods. See, if you use the core regex using the regex method or find something, that is equivalent of using some JavaScript methods. But if you bring in some third-party package into by using npm or something, then you add a load into your project, unnecessary load. So that is what my intention of saying all of that is. Okay, I hope you are sharing and liking this stream as well, because I'm seeing only a few people are having a like. We need to have more of this thing entire to be spread around so that it keeps me going. Otherwise, the motivation is going to go down and I probably will leave it. I hope you don't want that. Can you go in depth for array methods? Of course we will go. Of course we'll have a really in depth of classes, not classes on array. It's an important subject. We'll be going there. But right now, just a string. We still have to talk about objects. We have to talk about booleans. There is a lot more. Okay, so I can't write Unicode character on my keyboard. Can you tell me how could you write them? It's a kind of a Mac shortcut. I'm not sure what that shortcut is for Windows. Nice question. Any performance issues on adding plus multiple strings? Not too much, but again, you are performing an arithmetic operation. So operations do consume some CPU memory on the longer scale. And again, if there are strings, try to use interpolation, because that's just a conversion. If you use plus with multiple of the strings, obviously your concatenation is happening. I usually prefer to go with the interpolation of the string. That is a little bit better, not too much. Okay, so which streaming software you use? I think we'll talk about them later on someday, about my setup that I have. Okay. Somebody says window plus dot. I think that's a shortcut for that. What kind of project? Don't be too futuristic. What is coming up? What is not coming up? Let it flow. Enjoy the surprises as well. Yep, I think somebody is replying. That is what the good community is all about. Okay, so I think that is all. Okay, excited for the 10th July. Okay, so a lot is happening there. Okay, I think that is all what we are going to take for this one. It's almost just 1 minute, so we'll be taking there. Again, there will be some assignments available. The code files will be available into the dashboard, community dashboard known as JavaScript Marathon. You can find it into iNeuron website. In case you want to go for the job guarantee JavaScript course, use code Hitesh10 and just enroll for that. You can find it easily on the iNeuron website. That all will be going for. And again, for the people who are asking the questions like, do you cover JS all? Go ahead, please answer them. I've already replied to them in the very first video. I hope you can help me in that doing so. Okay, so that is it. And again, do check up all the assignments and the quizzes and the code files on the community dashboard available at iNeuron website. And let's catch up in next such stream.